Adored or abhorred, our royal families are the subject of intense speculation. With Queen Beatrix abdicating in the Netherlands, corruption scandals in Spain and a royal baby on the way in Britain, the chatter has got yet louder. So, to add to the debate and answer your questions, we're joined by one of the world's best-known royal watchers, biographer Andrew Morton, who joins us live from Spain, where he's promoting his new book on the Spanish royal family. Andrew, many thanks for joining us. I'd like now to go to our first question, which comes from France.
Hello, I'm Christine and I'm from France. And I'd like to ask, when is the right moment for a monarch to abdicate in relation to the country and in relation to their personal circumstances? What do you think? What are the principles involved? Thank you.
So that's a good question, isn't it? Because on the one hand, we've got Queen Beatrix in the Netherlands, whose popularity is an all-time high. On the other side of the coin, you've got King Juan Carlos of Spain, whose popularity is plummeting, yet he's not thinking, it seems yet, at least, of abdicating. Should King Juan Carlos be taking a leaf out of Queen Beatrix's book?
The problem is this: abdication in Europe has always been a dirty word. Ever since the abdication of Edward VIII, the Duke of Windsor, in 1936 in Britain, caused a constitutional crisis. But I think that Queen Beatrix has shown the way forwards. It's progressive, it's modern, and it shows that a king or a queen does not have to have the job for life. They can pass it on to another generation.
And when it comes to image, Queen Beatrix has also done an awful lot to improve her image. Because let's remember, when she was married, protesters threw smoke bombs at her wedding, in part because she was getting married to a man who'd been part of the Hitler Youth. How did she turn her image around so successfully?
Well, I think the great thing about Queen Beatrix is that she's shown that you can come from outside a royal family and really make a difference. She's done it by being accessible, by being very human, by being just very informal. And I think that those qualities are those which the Dutch people have responded to. And you can see it as well throughout Europe, that this kind of new informality, as Prince William said in his interview just the other day, that he wants to be treated as a human being. And I think that's the abiding focus for the Dutch royal family. They're treated like they are very human.
And has Willem Alexander shaped up his act? Because at one point he was known as the Prince Pils because of his kind of penchant for a beer and a good time.
Yeah, he seems to have cleaned up his act, and thanks again to another commoner, Maxima, who again was subject to protests and parliamentary inquiries because of the activities of her father during the Argentinian junta. And again, it's a commoner who's given a sense of purpose and a sense of new vitality to the royal house.
And just finally, though, because the family isn't really devoid entirely of controversy, there's a lot of debate about how much the royal family there earns, and the new king will earn something like €850,000 a year. That seems rather excessive in these times of austerity.
Yes, I mean, any payments to any royal family are always seen as excessive. It's far cheaper, for example, than the British royal family, who are the most popular family in Europe, I would argue, but also the most expensive.
OK, well, let's go now to our next question.
I am Manuela from Spain, and I would like to know if, after all these scandals about the Spanish monarchy, if there's going to be any kind of a solution.
So we're back to the massive corruption scandal which has kind of embroiled the royal family in Spain. And I suppose the question is there a way out? How is this going to play out?
Well, I think an awful lot depends on the course, and the fact that the Spanish justice moves very slowly means that this whole episode is being dragged out month after month, year after wearying year, at a time when Spain is really on its knees economically. And there's a real sense of anger at Iñaki, the Duke of Parma, for his behaviour, for the perception that he's been taking money from public bodies for his private use. and it really has done great damage to the House of Bourbon.
But we know the phrase innocent until proven guilty, but the royal family has very much distanced itself from Princess Christina's husband, Iñaki. So has the die been cast?
Well, I think the die's been cast in two ways. First of all, there's whatever happens legally, so he can be found guilty or he can be found innocent, but also he's being found guilty in the court of public opinion, because the evidence is there before everyone. I'm here in Barcelona, and a few years ago, Infanta Cristina and the Duke of Parma lived relatively modestly. Then he took on this institute, the News Institute, and suddenly they're able to spend €6 million on a little palace, as it was called.
And just briefly now, there's going to be a new transparency law. It looks like a new transparency law is going to be passed in Spain. Has the royal family, kind of the wider royal family, got anything to worry about? Well,
there's always been discussion about how King Juan Carlos has earned his fortune, because remember, when he ascended the throne, he was relatively penniless, and there's discussions now about how much he inherited from his father, Don Juan, and did he pay tax on it. And of course, this, at a time when the economy is booming, nobody really cares. But when everybody's looking for every euro, then the cost of the monarchy and the sense that there's money being taken through the back door adds to a sense of disillusionment with an institution that you should respect.
OK, we're going to go now to our final question.
Hi, my name is Kevin. I'm from Boston in the United States of America. Royal families are public figures. I wonder what the line is between their personal private lives and their public responsibilities are.
What about William and Kate, Prince William and the Duchess of Cambridge? Can they expect to be hounded by the press in the same way as Princess Diana was, especially now that they've got a baby on the way?
Well, you've seen what's happened over the last few months. Kate Middleton took her top off sunbathing in the south of France at a private chateau. She was photographed. Those photographs appeared in a French magazine and also in some Scandinavian magazines and Italian magazines. That resulted in a court action by Prince William. Similarly, in Mustique, they were photographed on holiday. So there's a big difference between Prince William's reaction to the media and the previous generation, Prince Charles and Princess Diana. They took very little action against the media. Now, Prince William is using the privacy laws, the European Human Rights Act, which has been imposed in Britain, in order to try and muzzle the press and stop them from publishing pictures that he finds invade his privacy.
How do you think they'll be able to shield their baby?
Well, I mean, what normally happens, and it usually works pretty effectively, is that royal children have photo calls every so often. I mean, I remember I was at one of the earliest ones in Auckland in New Zealand, where Prince William could barely walk, and Charles and Diana sat on a blanket and played with him, and some of the most delightful pictures of Prince William were then published. And then there's been subsequent photo calls when he first started school and so on. But there's not been that, so that meant that the paparazzi, the stalking of the young prince, never happened. And it's going to be, hopefully, it will be the same with the latest addition to the House of Windsor.
And finally, what about names? We've heard, we don't even know if it's a boy or a girl, but, you know, what's your bet?
Well, I'm hoping it's going to be a girl, and certainly Kate has hinted at that. And I hope that one of the names will be Diana. So finally, Diana will be Queen. It won't be the first name. The betting is very much on Alexandra if it's a girl.
Andrew Morton, many thanks for your insights. You can see who our next guest will be on our Euronews website. Please keep your questions coming. We do appreciate them. From the European Parliament studios here in Brussels, I'm Isabelle Kumar. Thanks for joining us.